Well, good morning everyone. Thanks, Willie. As Willie says, my name is David Campbell, and as Peter read out, my firm's Abacus Financial Planning Consultants. We're a small IFA practice based in Dunfermline. We incorporated the firm February 2003. Firstly, can I say thank you to everyone on LinkedIn who sent me a congratulations message. You don't realise how many people read social media until you're a party of it and some things start coming into your inbox. So I've had, I would say 50 or 60 people have emailed me this week saying congratulations on the work anniversary, 13 years in Abacus. So my background, 34 years ago I started in insurance with Pearl Assurance, oddly enough, and my very first day went to Peterborough for training and my house was broken into, and Anne rang me to say the house has been broken into. I said, well, there's not much I can do now, they'll be away with it. So I stayed on the training course for a month, which went down very well. Wife Anne is a co-director of the firm. Her background's more than 20 years in legal practices until she came to work with me when we set up Abacus, as I say, 13 years ago. We grew the firm quite steadily. In the first 5 or 6 years we went from 2 of us up to 8 of us, and then 2008, 2009, with a bit of a financial hiccup in the country, as I'm sure you know, the mortgage market went from our firm doing more than 300 mortgages a year to 12 overnight. It just dropped off a cliff. That resulted in a couple of guys taking early retirement, a couple of others just left the industry altogether. And we're now back to just Anne and I, and we'll never grow it again. A salutary lesson: if you're in business, you'll find the glass ceiling very quickly. Either recruit to way beyond your capabilities and buy in other people to manage it, or stick to your knitting. That's the path we've decided to go down. We work 2 of us, we're efficient, we're slick, we know what we're doing, and we don't do any home haircuts as such. A firm of our size, it's, give an indication, there's 2 of us, and yet we manage more than £20 million of clients' money. We look after them pretty well. It's essential to have good, what we call MI, good management information. It's exactly what Alan was saying in the training. You need to know what you're doing, you need to know when people expect to see you. Every month we print off a list of clients who are due reviews, we send letters, we do phone calls. My accountant can't believe my postal bill because I'm still old-fashioned. I actually like sending letters. I know I can put in emails. There's something different, and little tips: if you've got an important message, I post it on a Friday. Because guess what? The people sit in their house and they get their post on a Saturday morning when they're sitting there and they open it and talk about it, rather than open the post and run away to their work and don't think about it. So it's a nice way to drop a message through the door for people. But MI is useful for a variety of things. In my world, it's about client reviews, but it comes in great for other things like our reporting to the regulators. The FCA, in their wisdom, we have to send them two official responses every year, and that's everything from a full balance sheet through to profit and loss account figures. For a firm our size, it's ridiculous when Companies House asks me once a year to report to them. Nevertheless, it's what we do. It also helps. We moved our data over. We went on and we had an old Excel spreadsheet system, and we moved to a bespoke service, back office called Intelligent Office, or IntelliFlow as it's now called. It's the best thing we've ever done. It thinks for you, it is intuitive, it works out, and it does what you want it to do. So I'd definitely back it up. It's about the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Was that 6 Ps? I'm not sure. So guess where the preparation went. What can people expect if they deal with Abacus? We use a system we call PRISM. PRISM. It's quite simple. When I meet a client, we'll talk about protection. That's kind of what happens if you die. Who needs to be paid money? Or also, what happens if you don't die? You've had a slight touch of death, but you're not going back to your work. You've had a stroke, you've been diagnosed with cancer. Your quality of life is going to fall through the floor. What's the financial implications? That's what protection's about. We do retirement planning. That breaks into different areas. There's accumulation phase, people who are working hard, putting money aside. There's pre-retirement. That's people like Dave, who say he's going to retire but never actually does. There's people who are at retirement. I'm going to stop work tomorrow, I need to know what to do with my funds. and there's people in post-retirement who need to know how the best way to take their income for the rest of their lives. Investment in savings, pretty straightforward. Is it tax efficient? Is it matched to risk for the client? They're the important factors there. And the M stood for mortgage, and it's just because PRISM sounds better than PRISD. Mortgage is just a fancy name for debt. When you can get people to grasp that concept, then you're halfway towards getting the right solution for them. The lenders will tell you, oh, it's an investment in your property, it's a yoke. They want to put debt around your head. And at the end of the day, can I just advise you that you can't settle your mortgage just by sending a cheque to pay off the balance. I've met hundreds of people, I've got no mortgage, I've settled it. They don't realise that the lender still has security on their property. So you need to speak to your lender and get a solicitor to do a discharge of the security. Otherwise, your house is still an asset owned by the lender, even though you don't owe them any money. We do business protection. Simple little case study that we dealt with for a small firm a couple of months back. See if you can spot the flaw in this business model. There was 5 directors of the firm who were also the 5 shareholders of the firm. One of them, however, owns 60% of the business, 4 of them had 10% each. It's actually really common. Loads of small firms give shares and shareholding to family and friends and such, and then lose track of what's going on. Within the 5 of them, 2 people really were critical to the business. They did everything. They were the guys on the tools, and if you don't do that, you don't make any money. It's that simple. So we had to come up with a tax deductible solution for business, and it's just a simple business security, and it came from asking the question, the guy with 60%, how do you get out of the business? Have the other guys got the money to buy your shares back? What happens if you die? Is your wife going to be the director of the firm and run the firm for you? When you start to think about that, we've all got people you deal with, maybe even your own business, if you've got other shareholders, have a think about what role does that impose on them. And the 2 key people, what happens if they fail sick? Is your business, who employ 20 other people, going to just stop working because 2 of them are critical? It's really, you've got to get beneath the veneer. Once you do that, you can start to design solutions. In their case, it was straightforward. The 60% guy, we basically wrote some whole of life insurance written under trust so that when he dies, the money comes back through the firm has the money, can give it to his widow to buy his shareholding back, firm can continue, widow can go off to Barbados. Nice and simple. The 2 key critical people, simple critical key man insurance. One of them dies, one of them falls seriously ill, they're not coming back. There's money for the firm to be able to replace them, to go and find new people, or to keep trading in the interim until they can do it off their own back. So that's really what tax deductible solutions are about for business. And last thing that we can do for the other directors is a thing called relevant life insurance. If you trade as a limited company, why are you paying for your own life insurance out of your own money? The company can pay for it quite legally. The only restriction is a multiple of your earnings for the insurance, and the taxman's quite happy to say, yep, tick that off, your company can pay for all that. So that's Abacus for personal investment savings and for business solutions, basically advice that you can count on. And don't know if that was 10 minutes or not, but that's would be useful to give an insight to what we do. So thank you for giving me that wee time there. Any queries, questions?
Where do you see yourself, David, when you come to the time to retire?
It's a good question. 34 years ago, when I started in the industry, I was going to retire at 50. Everyone has that thought. You work through it, but life takes over and you don't. I got to 50, I said, well, I'll be 55 then. I can tell you where I'm going to live. It will be Saint-Jean-de-Luz in France, on the Basque country region where it joins Spain. I can't tell you when it's going to be because I don't view mine as work. It's a way of life for me. I enjoy what I do. I've always loved doing it. But there will come a time, I would say every week, we get offers to buy. We're at a critical mass, the size of the firm. I have a locum arrangement with other IFA, that if they're off, I cover for them, they cover for me. So to answer it from a potential client's point of view, yeah, if I go, there's someone who will pick it up. We have a connection through our compliance people through Simply Biz. They would parachute somebody in if I died yesterday, kind of thing. So the business would be fine. I'm tempted to sell, if I'm being honest. Quite often I get some good offers, They do it on what they call multiples of recurring income. And I could go tomorrow if we chose to, but I've no plans to do that. What I think will happen is I'm gradually getting less and less involved. I certainly don't do anything like the hours I used to do, and I'm much more selective about the clients we take on. I say no probably 6 times out of 10, because you can't be the age of everyone in this room and never met a financial services guy, whether it's the guy for the bank or the prudential guy or whatever. And if you fell out with them for something that they would do, I know my industry well enough that that's how I would have handled it, and I just say, we're not going to get on and walk away from it. We don't do equity release, we don't do home haircut business. Simply, yeah, it sounds odd to say it, but there's only 20,000 people in the UK do what I do. Only 20,000 now. It was 300,000 when I started in the industry, and there's 64 million people. The phone rings. It's now getting to be selective about what kind of business you want. So yeah, where will I be? Who knows? No plans to retire, but if the right offer was there, I would perhaps live in France and come back here maybe a week to 10 days a month and do clients from at arm's length. We're getting clever. I did Skype calls to a client in Italy last week. That's unusual. Thanks, Ben. It was I had no idea the power of what you could do with Skype, and it came in fabulous. I was really surprised how much information you could convey and pick up at the same time. And once you get used to just looking at a computer and chatting to someone, that's half the battle, I think. So, yeah.
You Skype visually or just by telephone?
No, visual, through the computer.
It makes a difference when you can see the person.
Yeah,
yeah.
You have to.
See the facial expressions.
Yeah, communication's not verbal. It's 90% non-verbal, and you pick up much more just chatting like that. And you see people walking behind them in the pictures now. Who's that?
Well, thank you very much, David.
Very good question. Just now with the markets being in such a state, and the Chancellor talking about taxing profits from rental income before you get the mortgage relief, what would your advice be to people looking to invest for? Again, obviously it depends on whether they want income or not.
Well, yeah, growth or income is the starting point. Then, probably more importantly, strange enough, is risk, and what we call attitude to risk and capacity for loss. Because you could say, I'm a gambler and I don't mind taking on a risk score of 1 to 10, where 1's low, 10's I'm 8, and your wife might be sitting there going, you're more like 2 from what I know you. We do a personality profile test. It's really quite slick. It works through, put it through a software program, comes up with the right risk profile. The key to manage what they call volatility or risk is diversification. We never have more than 15% in any single fund. We only use fund managers who have been the manager for more than 3 years. We only use funds that are AA rated or better. There's something like 4,500 different unit trusts we could choose. I pick from 900. It's that simple. I'll miss a lot of stars, but I'll miss a lot more dogs. And it's just about getting consistency rather than shocks and scares. Get stocks and shares. It's really, what would we do? Diverse portfolio for investment, whether it's for growth or for income, the principles are the same. Income and retirement's a little bit different because the government openly said you can have freedom and choice. You can all spend your pension any way you like. Really? One client rang me up back in February before the changes came in. I want to take my pension out. He's 55, and just because he could, he thought he should. Until we explained that if you take it out, you'll get 25% tax-free. The other 75% gets added to your income and makes you taxed at that appropriate rate. And even if you take a lower amount on day one, the government treats it as month one basis and give you a tax code. So if you say I'm taking £10,000 out, the government thinks you're taking £10,000 a month and taxes you on that. So it's about 50% you're losing tax. Not so attractive any longer. That's the bits the government don't put in the headlines about freedom and choice, basically.
Speak to a guy the other day that he tried to say thanks for my small pension, and it was £6,000, and because he's on what he's earned in benefits or whatever he gets, he's getting taxed on 40% after £6,000. So, and he was.
If you do it under small pots rule, but yeah, you'll still
the
pay
check was
tax.
supposed to come through the one week, didn't come the following week, and with £500 difference. And when he phoned up, he said that's just an estimate, and your investment, when your money in, went up and down. So within a week, he's £6,500 out of £6,000, then it was taxed on my pension. David.
Hopefully for the next.
Yeah, I'll now move on to any other business. I'd like to thank Ben for everything you've done for us.